Hello, Annalise Morris. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dayna. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, for the folks watching us real quickly, I want to just introduce myself. I am Dayna Wilson. I'm a seniors real estate specialist with Keller Williams Realty here in Contra, Costa County, and I am just chatting today with Annalise Morris. And Annalise, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. Hi, Dayna. Thank you so much for having me and putting this together. I think this is great. Lots of Zoom calls over the past month, and I think that's been a really positive thing that's come out of the whole shelter in place. So my name is Annalise Morris. I'm a certified financial planner with Merrill Lynch. I have a wealth management group, the Morris Wealth Management Group, and we are located here in Walnut Creek, California. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. How long have you been doing what you do?
So I've been in the business for a little bit over 5 years. My background was more in corporate retail management, and then I made the transition into wealth management about a little over 5 years ago.
Nice. Awesome. So how have you been doing personally? Like, what are you doing to stay safe and sane and entertained and out of trouble?
Yeah, so obviously kind of we're all in this together, right? So the first few weeks were a little bit of an adjustment. I think the most crucial thing that's helped me personally is establishing a routine. Getting up every morning, continuing to exercise, trying to eat healthy, go to bed at a reasonable time, all of that. And then just, having gratitude. I've listened to a lot of webcasts, and I've been a part of other webcasts, and I think some of the big takeaways that I've personally had is we need to really be nice to ourselves right now. We're all going through a lot, we're all experiencing a lot. Our life has changed pretty dramatically with essentially no notice, and just giving yourself permission to maybe not be operating at 100%.
I love that you said that, and I love that you said it took a couple weeks to get back into your routine, because it did for me as well, and I thought I was the only one that just wasn't able to get my act together. But I'm still talking to people saying, one day they wake up and they do their hair and makeup and they get dressed for work and they're ready to go, and then the next day they're still in their sweats at 3 p.m. and the hair is in a ponytail, and it just isn't going to happen that day. But I totally agree. The routine is awesome, and you do feel better and you get more accomplished, and then you feel better at the end of the day that you've got things accomplished, because you and I both are still serving clients.
Absolutely.
So, life has not stopped. Life continues to happen. And, I'd love to hear what you're doing the same and what you're doing differently these days in working with your clients.
Sure. So I feel very fortunate in that it's been a relatively seamless transition. And I have all of the capabilities and ability to do my job remotely. Mm-hmm. With that being said, as I stated before, it was a little bit of a dramatic change, because essentially in one day we were told you're going to be working from home. So I fortunately already had the capabilities to do that ahead of time. Had to get both of my assistants transitioned to work from home. So that took a couple days, getting them the right equipment, getting them set up remotely. So after that was behind us, it's really just been about having a lot of client outreach. Now it's more important than ever to be in touch, as with our clients. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of uncertainty. And just, being there and being able to have kind of like a one-on-one personal discussion. Normally, I do a lot of client meetings just in my office. So it's changed a little bit now, having to have WebEx calls or just phone calls. But one kind of fun thing that I've incorporated, just since, everybody can use a little pick-me-up right now, is I'll, ahead of a meeting with a client that we have set up, I'll order maybe like from DoorDash or a local delivery service, and I'll have them drop off, just something small at their house. And in some cases, it's helping to support the local businesses that are super impacted by this right now. So that's another added benefit. But it's just kind of a little fun surprise and delight I've incorporated since we're not able to get together in person. Kind of makes us feel a little bit more like we're in person together.
That is so awesome and very thoughtful, actually. Very thoughtful of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's why we love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that everybody knows that you are the platinum sponsor of the Savvy Seniors Living Seminars that are normally being hosted at the Lafayette Library. And unfortunately, like the rest of the world, we've had to cancel the last couple, well, last month and this upcoming May's. And I am hoping that we can maybe go live and online with them, and we'll see if we'll see how savvy our seniors are. If we can do that. But I think I have confidence that they'll be able to do that. So I think that will be maybe the direction we'll have to take, because we really don't know. I think that's one of the hard things about what's going on right now is there's so much unknown. And like you said, this change hit us really quickly. There was no warning. That's what's different about this one. So it wasn't brought on by a financial crisis in this case. It was a health crisis, right? Pandemic.
Right.
But now we have seen so much volatility in the market. Is there anything specific you could share about what's going on in the market, generally speaking, and then maybe touch on the CARES Act?
Sure, absolutely. One thing I just wanted to add what you just said too. I think another positive that's come out of this, a lot of my client families that I serve, they're multi-generation. So they might have, senior citizens and then baby boomers and then millennials or Gen X in the family. And it's been really cool to see the family units bond together. And in some cases, maybe they're living together or they've had to temporarily relocate in order for safety. And so I think that's a great idea if we took the Savvy Seniors online. And that's one thing I've personally experienced a lot of is just, clients having maybe their families help them with technology. And this has really kind of forced everybody in a good way, and to some degree, to kind of maybe embrace some technology that maybe they weren't before, that's now able to make their lives a little easier. So that was one thing that I've noticed over the past 6 weeks that's been a real positive. But getting back to what you mentioned, so I think the core here is ensuring that, obviously we saw some extreme volatility, especially, back in March, and it was very unnerving. And, to put no emphasis on it, that would be a little callous. And a lot of my clients, they were concerned. They weren't overly concerned because part of ensuring that everything works well is having a good strategy in place ahead of time. So really ensuring that people are invested to their risk tolerance and to their time horizon. And so having that in place really, really helped mitigate any kind of fear that my clients had, and, just staying the course. Obviously we've had a nice rally in April. And so, the market today, it ended, the S&P was only down 9%. At the worst is down about 27%. So we have seen a lot of positive, the market's come back quite a bit. And I think it's priced in the worst case scenario that we saw back in the middle of March. And assuming people can get back to work and the economy can reopen, hopefully the worst is behind us.
Oh, let's hope so. I mean, I'm always the glass half full kind of gal, but yeah, let's hope that for everyone, for the whole, local economy, state economy, national economy, and world economy, or frankly.
Absolutely.
So tell me, because tell me about the CARES Act and how that is going to impact people.
Great question. So there's been quite a bit that's come out of the CARES Act. And for those who aren't familiar, the CARES Act was the stimulus that was passed by Congress about 3 weeks back that was signed into law. So the biggies for your and my clients are really going to be, there was some relief in terms of the tax situation. And and some of the rules regarding retirement distributions for this year. So kind of nice, especially if it works out. Everyone's situation is a little bit different, but clients who are at the age where they're having to take a required minimum distribution from their retirement account, they're allowed to not take that distribution this year, which will decrease their taxable income. So where it's made sense, it's been some nice tax relief for some clients. And then additionally, as everyone probably is aware at this point, the IRS and California Franchise Tax Board, they've suspended quarterly payments as well as the tax filing now until July 15th. So
yeah,
a little bit of a reprieve for us. And with everything going on, it's kind of one less thing that we need to worry about right now.
Yeah, well, that is nice to have one less thing to worry about.
One less check that we have to write until.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Is there anything else about what you're doing for clients, or any information, or actually, what do you see? What do you and your team and your company see happening going forward, maybe through the end of the year? Or do you even know? I mean, people ask me all the time, what's going to happen with real estate? Well, nobody really knows.
Right.
We have some people talking about, well, we saw the signs before the virus hit that we were going into a recession, and that we will have a significant recession, but it will be short-lived. It's not going to be like this last one. And other people say, no, once the economy gets back up and running, it's going to be business as usual and things are going to be great. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys are the experts.
So I think you really set it up very well. I think essentially at this point, we're trying to solve for an equation with two variables. And if you have two variables and you're trying to get an answer, anybody who has any experience with basic algebra kind of knows that there's really no likely outcome. There's either we're going to have a great rebound in this V-shaped recovery that we've maybe heard in the news, where things are just going to resume back to normal or relatively normal if everything's able to reopen, or it's going to be a little bit more of this U-shaped recovery where it's going to take some time and for people to get back. And the longer that the economy stays closed, obviously super important for everybody's health and wellness, and just to not spread the disease any longer. But I'd be a little bit remiss if I didn't say and acknowledge all the hardship that it's caused, especially for, the service industry, restaurants. There's been a lot of companies that have had to make significant layoffs, and in a lot of cases, they're furloughing their employees. So assuming that we're able to get back to work, revenue starts coming in once again, at a relatively good pace, they're going to be able to rehire those employees back, and these massive unemployment numbers that we've seen over the past 6 weeks will start decreasing rapidly. So of course, that's what I'm hopeful for. We kind of have to just at this point wait and see. But I think there are definitely glimmers of hope out there. I'm getting, personally as well as professionally, updates that they're looking to ways on how we can reintegrate back into normal life. So that's really reassuring to hear. There's no specific timeline, at least for us here in California, but I have clients across the country, and some states are really starting to loosen things a little bit more that have been less impacted. So we shall see.
Yeah, well, yeah, we all hope that we get back to normal, but like you say, our health is a priority. I did just get off a call with the John Muir Foundation PAC, Professional Advisory Council, and they really are doing much better than I think the media is making us think. As of today, they really had, only 13 people in their ICU that were impacted, and really 5 of those were the ones that were really quite ill. So, I'm hoping things are going to get better, and I just keep praying for all the people that have been affected. And I feel very blessed that, we're doing as well as we are, right?
Absolutely. And I think especially you and I, serving a large part of our client base is senior citizens. I have two grandmothers that are both in their 90s. One is in a assisted living here locally in Alamo, and then the other one, she still lives down in the Central Valley independently. And, making sure that their health is a priority since they're the ones that can be most impacted. It's, obviously been hard because we can't physically see them, but I heard from someone that, and I really like this, I took this away, that it's important for us to stay physically distanced, but not socially distanced. It's still really important to have that human connection. So staying in touch, the caregivers have been sending us pictures of my grandma, which is really sweet. And then also my fiance's grandparents, he's really fortunate. Both his grandmother and grandfather are still with us, and they're living with his aunt and uncle in San Ramon. And it's really cute. It's like they're obviously impacted by this, but just the littlest things bring such joy to them. This is terrible, but they had trouble getting toilet paper when there was the whole toilet paper shortage. So we were able to locate some successfully for them, and we ordered it on Amazon and had it delivered. And it just so happens, we celebrate Easter in our family, and it was delivered on Easter, and it was cute. They sent us a text message. This is an Easter miracle.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cute to see, although, it's not exactly a great situation that we can't find toilet paper, but the fact that people are just so appreciative for the little things.
Yes. Who knew? So yeah, so let's wrap up with silver linings.
Sure.
I mean, truly silver linings that I've seen are the gratefulness for the things that we do have. And I think a renewed appreciation for the lives that we have that we're all looking forward to getting back to. I think Absolutely. We're all missing, I'm a people person. I miss hugging people, hugging and kissing people because I'm a hugger. I can hardly wait. I'm going to go hug strangers at Safeway after this. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be crazy. And just knowing that, what, I think we're more resilient than we think we are, mm-hmm. And that I think just keeping that attitude of gratefulness and thankfulness and focusing on what we have as opposed to what we don't have. And I think also looking for ways to help other people. In my calls, we call them care calls now. We're not talking about real estate. I'm just asking them how they're doing and if there's anything they need. We're happy to go pick up groceries or grab something at CVS they might need. That fills you too and makes you feel good. And that there's a connection, even though you're dropping something off with the mask and gloves and the whole bit. But man, I miss people. I love my husband dearly, but we've had a lot of togetherness.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Dayna. And, kind of at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And I feel really fortunate just by nature of my job. And, same with you, that our job really is servicing and dealing with our clients on a daily basis. So, from, sun up to sundown, day in and day out, we've still had the ability to do that. It's changed a little bit. It's now over a video conference or over the telephone. But I think, like you said, that brings a lot of joy and it kind of fulfills us. So I feel thankful for that. I've, had the fortunate opportunity to bring in new clients during all of this. So getting to know additional people, being able to serve them and their families, help people through difficult times. So like you said, that really at the end of the day is what we should feel gratitude for. And, I do feel very, very fortunate that my health and, everything else in my life has been relatively, impacted in a smaller way than probably most other people out there.
Yeah, I think, and then when I ask my clients, what have they seen, what are their silver linings? It's more quality time with their loved ones that are mm-hmm. sheltering in place with them, especially people with kids. And I can't imagine what it would be like to try to work from home with tiny ones. That would be almost impossible, I would think. But, for kids that are a little older, and, going back to playing board games and, things that you just don't take time to do. More walks and hikes and getting out of nature. That's really been helpful to me too. And I'm gardening. I mean, I don't even have a weed in my yard anywhere right now. They wouldn't even dare grow because I'm just going to go pluck it. But so if somebody wanted, because a lot of people have financial advisors, but they may not be hearing from their financial advisors right now, right? Because it's probably a time of a lot of hard discussions. But how would someone get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach you?
Sure. So I definitely hope that that's not the case, because now more so than ever, super important to not be in hiding, but to be visible and to be in contact. But you're able to reach me just as, usual. So my email address is my first name, Annalise. That's ANNALISE Morris, MORRIS @ml.com. And then my phone number as well is 925-988-2173. So people are more than welcome to email me, call me, still open for business as usual.
Yay! And if you can't get a hold of her, call me and I'll get you in touch with her, because she's great. So thank you for your time. I know you're busy helping all your clients and our sweet seniors especially. So continue to be healthy and well and happy. And
I have one thing before we go.
What do you have? What are you doing? What are you up to?
Another silver lining of working from home. I've gotten to log some quality time with my dog Penny, my trusted little sidekick.
Oh, she's like, I'm digging all this mom time.
Exactly. So the pets are the real winners here, I guess.
Oh. Well, if you ever need someone to walk Penny and you can't, you just let us know. We'll walk Penny for you.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thanks so much, Dayna.
Well, you and Penny have a great afternoon, and we will talk soon.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.